we are hot on the heels of one of my personal most anticipated movies of the year, hitting theaters with Captain Marvel. So inspired by that movie, I'm gonna do some mashups of Captain Marvel with some Pokemon. And because I had so much fun with that booster pack challenge last week, I'm gonna do the same kind of thing. I'm gonna mash up Captain Marvel with some Pokemon from some booster packs that I'm gonna open on camera right now. I'm Christian Pearson of Popcross Studios, and let's see what we've got to work with. I think last time I opened a Groudon pack first, so let's open Forbidden Light. Okay, we could do Captain Marvel as a bunch of eggs. Scatterbug, I'm not really that familiar with this one. Oh, Gibble. Nice, I wish it was his evolved form, kind of, but that's cool. Alright. Oh, that's cute. It's sad, but it's cute. Goomy. Nah. Oh, I could definitely see this one being a contender. Although I think of her as a bit more tough than elegant, but I guess she's a bit of both. Oh, yeah. Oh, ding, ding, ding. I think we might have a winner here, folks. Wow, did I get 2 holographics in one pack? Is that normal? That's pretty awesome. Energy, Ultra Recon, Fossil, blah, blah. Okay, it's kind of tempting to go with both of these. Oh, think I'm gonna go with... You know what? I'm gonna decide when I cut to the drawing. This ends up being a fun warm-up one. It doesn't end up being my favorite of the batch, but it is kind of fun. I pretty much just do Infernape's basic shape with Captain Marvel's costume on. The most change-up comes in the helmet and maybe the forearms. You can also see the pose-wise. I'm doing pretty similar stuff to what I'd do if I was drawing Spider-Man. This actually looks kind of similar to a pose I did for Crazy Chicken Animation submission for the last subscriber submission episode of his Karate Lizard. But I just really like this kind of karate pose. I actually like the one in the card better. It's kind of crazy. It's a little bit hard to tell what's his arm and what's his leg if you don't know the character, but it's super cool looking. In terms of changing up Captain Marvel's costume, the main place where I do that is the helmet. I try to mash up her helmet with Infernape's kind of mask sort of thing. It's not probably actually a mask, it's part of his face. But I try to mash that up with Captain Marvel's helmet in the head area, and I think that ends up looking kind of cool. I changed some of his fur into being built into the helmet a little bit, as if it's some kind of gold crown, sort of, and I think that ends up looking kind of cool. I also take his arms, which have some fur on them, and instead of doing that, I just make sort of a bit spiky-ish extended versions of Captain Marvel's forearm armor. I also think I give him one less toe than he actually has, which... I noticed that I was doing that while drawing it, but I kind of just leaned into it and I was like, I'm just gonna stick with this. But besides that, there wasn't much super creative in terms of changing up the costume. It's pretty much just Captain Marvel's costume on Infernape. Also, I'm just noticing now that I forgot Infernape's tail. I mean, I could say that's kind of hidden behind him or something, but really I did just forget it. That's my bad. Here's what we got with Captain Infernape, I guess.
I like it.
I know, it's great, right?
Another!
Alright, let's see what we get. Squeaky, squeaky sounds. Ah, come on. Oh, let's feel. I can tell already. That's fun. Might be a little bit too fun and goofy for Captain Marvel. Haven't seen the movie yet and how she's portrayed, but I think of her as a bit more stoic and sarcastic. Oh, a Mudkip. I like Mudkip. He's kind of obscured in this image a lot, but he is pretty cute looking. Wow, a lot of water characters. Feebas. Oh, there we go. Slugma. Oh, this is an old artwork. I recognize this from a long time ago. Bunnelby. Whiscash. Oh, really shiny. Oh, the outside is shiny, but the drawing's not? I don't think I've seen that before. Oh, wow. You know what? I can't think of many Pokemon that are a better fit for Captain Marvel than Nidoqueen. Probably gonna be the winner. Bidoof. Oh, come on. That's a good one too. Wow, wow, wow. I really like both of these. This is another tough choice. I think I'm gonna have to go Nidoqueen. But you know what? I'm gonna decide again when we cut to the drawing. Alright, because of Nidoqueen's color, I decided to mash her up with Captain Marvel's bluey, greeny costume that I'm assuming is what she has for the earlier part of the movie. Not really sure when she changes up yet, because I haven't seen it yet, seeing it on Thursday. But anyway, I thought it would be cool to change things up a little bit, and I like how this ends up looking. It ends up being a bit like Nidoqueen wearing a Captain Marvel-inspired Iron Man suit, I'd say is the best idea of what this ends up looking like. I also give it a pose that's kind of charging towards us. It almost ends up looking a little bit more like Rhydon than... or wait, Rhydon? Rhyhorn? I always forget which is the second. Anyway, whichever one of them I animated in my Pokemon side-scroller video. It looks like the old Pokemon card of that character charging at the screen like this, but I do like this pose. I considered adding some smoke trails in the background, but it wasn't really working for me, so I didn't go with that. And then in terms of changing up the costume a little bit, the main thing I changed, besides making this one a little bit more shiny looking than the last one, is I took Captain Marvel's mohawk helmet bit and just kept Nidoqueen's spikes. Instead of having the mohawk, I considered adding hair, but didn't think it really worked. Nidoqueen doesn't have any hair, so I thought the spikes in place of hair would work better. And I do like that element of it. Besides that, this was a pretty straightforward mashup. I kind of wish I could have gotten Captain Marvel's logo in there somewhere, but it's kind of obscured behind this character's chin. So I thought about working it in somewhere else, but just thought, let's just leave it. It's hidden. Let's just keep it hidden. Also, you can see in the rendering here, instead of using that kind of rougher brush I've been using for cell shading, I just went with the regular flat brush that I use for inking, and I think that works a bit better. It does make the character look a little bit shinier, less rough, less textured, but with this one, I think that kind of worked. Anyway, here's what we got with Captain Marvoqueen. I'm not good at coming up with names. You know, I do like how these turned out, but I kind of want to do some more. So I think I am going to take Grovyle and Vivillon and do some mashups with them. But with Grovyle, because he's green, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to mash him up with a Skrull. This one ends up being a really nice change of pace. I really like drawing Skrulls. I might have to do more stuff with them in the future, hoping we get to see some Super Skrulls in the Marvel Cinematic Universe within the next few years because they got the rights to Fantastic Four back, and I'm a big fan of what that character can do. But anyway, I really like the color combination on this one. As people who watch my channel know, I'm a big fan of purple because I do all my shading in purple and then usually lighting and a bit of yellow. And this character's color is not yellow, but the green at parts I kind of lean it a little bit more towards yellow for the skin parts on the head and neck. Then the leafier bits, I leave a bit more vibrant green to be a little bit more like the Grovyle side of the character instead of the Skrull side of the character. But I'm a big fan of the way they've done the Skrulls for this. I like that they went mostly practical. I think they're all practical instead of being CGI. And I think that works well for the 90s aesthetic of this movie. Like, they look like something out of Star Trek, which I don't know if that's what they were going for, but I guess it's hard to not look like Star Trek sometimes when you're doing movie stuff, because Star Trek has covered so many different alien looks, and they kind of set the template for it back in the 60s. But anyway, overall, I think the Skrull's super cool, and he was a good character to mash up with Grovyle. I had considered, like I've done before with mashups like this, I tried to decide if I should give the character the clothing that the Skrull is wearing, or just mesh the clothing into the skin of the character. In this case, I kind of actually gave Grovyle the jacket that the Skrull's wearing, and he kind of has like the pants, except they're kind of rolled up to the ankle, and I think that worked well. I wasn't sure if I was gonna end up changing that, but I'm glad I went with it the way it is. I kind of like how the collar looks a bit popped, because Grovyle's eye just looks super sassy, and I think the popped collar just helps with that kind of like, oh, I'm better than you look that Grovyle has on his face. And overall, I think this one's super fun. The colors, the lighting, everything about it was a lot of fun to draw. So here we are with the final version of the Grovyle. Alright, for our last one of the video, I go back to Captain Marvel's classic costume, bringing the helmet again, and I think this one ends up being really nice. It's a really simple one to do because I don't really change up the shape of the villain again, like I've done with most of these. I keep the shape of the Pokemon and kind of just put Captain Marvel's costume onto it. But the nice part of this one was getting to put some of Captain Marvel's design elements into the wings, and I think that's the best part of this image, and I just really like, I haven't drawn a lot of butterfly characters, but I like anything with wings because wings can be so good for framing a character and drawing your eyes into the middle where the wings are attached to the body, and that's one of the reasons I really like drawing dragons. Dragon wings are really good at framing things, like if you've got a character riding on a dragon's back or something like that. But anyway, with a lot of this, I just stick with Captain Marvel's movie costume elements. I considered having antennas sticking out of the mohawk place instead of hair, but I really like the mohawk, and I'm glad I ended up going with it. I think it's a fun part of this character, the way it sways back. Then with the eyes, I kept Vivillon's eyes, but make them a little bit more angry looking, because she's a little bit more, like, sarcastic, angry, tough, arrogant kind of character. I'm assuming, I mean, from what I've seen in the trailers so far. I haven't actually seen the movie yet. But either way, I'm guessing she's not so happy-go-lucky as Vivillon seems to be. I also gave her a nice big smile. I think with the sort of angrier eyes, I think it's a fun kind of look. Like this character just won a fight or something. And I think overall this one's a really fun looking one. Anyway, here's what we got with Captain Vivillon. Or Captain Marvel. I butchered that. Anyway, here it is. You know what? That was the least time-consuming one, but I might actually like it the best. It's just nice and simple, the wings are cool, it's fun and happy. I'm glad I did that one. Alright everybody, that's all for this week. Thanks so much for watching Popcross Studios. If you like this, go back and check out last week's Booster Art Challenge if you haven't seen it yet. Mashed up Pokemon and Magic cards in the same kind of way. Also, if you ever want to see your art drawn on here, join the Popcross community. There's a Discord, or you can send me an email at popcrossanimations@gmail.com. Once a month, I do a subscriber submission episode. The next one's all about sci-fi, so send in your cool Send in your cool sci-fi monsters and heroes and ships and whatever else you want. To submit your artwork, you can either join the Discord below and post it in there, or you can send it to popcrossanimations@gmail.com. But I highly recommend the Discord, lots of great people in there, it's a good fun time, lots of people sharing artwork and chatting, it's good stuff. Anyway, thanks so much for watching everybody, I will see you next week.